This is pre-market pulse powered by Zintch. A fast, clean read on the tone of the market before the opening bell. No hype, no noise, just the signals that matter. Here's how the market is setting up this morning.
Good morning, cobbers, and welcome to the Zintch.com pre-market pulse for Wednesday, May 6, 2026. The numbers at 6:38 a.m. Eastern Time. Futures are surging Wednesday morning. This is the strongest pre-market open in weeks. Dow Futures, 49,887.00. Up 472 points, up 0.96%. Nasdaq Futures, 28,561.25. Up 425 points, up 1.51%. S&P 500 Futures, 7,350.50. Up 63.25 points, up 0.87%. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq both closed at fresh record highs Tuesday. The S&P at 7,259.22, up 0.81%, and the Nasdaq at 25,326.13. The Dow gained 356 points, up 0.72%, to 49,298.25. This morning's rally is being driven by two forces: a reported US-Iran peace deal that's crashing oil prices, and AMD's earnings blowout that's sending semiconductor stocks vertical. When oil drops and chips rip at the same time, you get mornings like this. US-Iran peace deal, 48 hours away. The biggest story this morning, Axios reports that the United States and Iran are closing in on a one-page, 14-point memorandum of understanding to end the war. A Pakistani source involved in the negotiations told Reuters, "We will close this very soon. We are getting close." The US expects Iran's response within 48 hours. An Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson confirmed the proposal is being evaluated. Key terms of the reported deal: both countries lift their respective blockades of the Strait of Hormuz. The US removes sanctions on Iran. Iran commits to a 15-year moratorium on uranium enrichment. Iran transfers its stockpile of highly enriched uranium outside its borders, potentially to the US. A 30-day negotiation period begins after signing. This is the closest the two sides have come to an agreement since the war began on February 28. Negotiations are being conducted by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, with further talks expected in either Islamabad or Geneva. Trump paused Project Freedom, the US military escort operation in the Strait, as a signal of de-escalation to support the diplomatic track. Oil, crude is in freefall. WTI plunged roughly 9% to around $93 per barrel. Brent dropped 8% to approximately $100 to $104. If this deal closes, oil could fall significantly further. If it collapses, the snapback will be violent. This is the kind of headline that moves everything. Lower oil means lower inflation expectations, which means the Fed has more room to cut, which means equities rally. The market is pricing in peace this morning. AMD explodes. Chips rip across the board. AMD reported after the bell Tuesday and delivered a monster quarter. Revenue, $10.3 billion versus $9.89 billion expected. Up 38% year-over-year. Adjusted EPS, $1.37 versus $1.29 expected. Net income, $1.4 billion, GAAP. Guidance, strong outlook that sparked the rally. The AI chip demand story is not slowing down. AMD's data center and AI accelerator business is scaling rapidly, and the market is treating this as confirmation that the AI infrastructure build-out has legs well beyond NVIDIA. But it's not just AMD. The entire semiconductor complex is on fire this morning. Intel, up 13% pre-market. SanDisk, up 12%. Micron, up 11%. Qualcomm, up 11%. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index has now risen 54% since the end of March. Its best performance over a 25-day period since March 2000. April ETF flows hit $167 billion, nearly 3 times April 2025's total, driven almost entirely by the semiconductor rally. This is the kind of move that makes people ask, bubble? The answer depends on whether AI revenue growth sustains. So far, every major AI company that's reported, Palantir, AMD, the hyperscalers, has beaten estimates. Until that changes, the momentum is real. Shopify, beat on revenue, missed on guidance. Shopify reported Tuesday and delivered mixed results. Revenue, $3.17 billion, up 34% year-over-year, beat. GMV, $101 billion, up 35% year-over-year, crossing $100 billion for the first time. Free cash flow margins, 15%. AI impact, orders driven by AI tools up 13x. The beat was strong, But the stock fell after hours because second quarter guidance called for high 20s revenue growth, a deceleration from 34%. The market wanted 30% plus to continue. Shopify is a bellwether for e-commerce health. The fact that GMV crossed $100 billion in a single quarter tells you consumer spending is alive. But the guidance miss reminds you that even in a strong economy, growth rates eventually compress. Tuesday's record close. The S&P 500 closed at a new all-time high of 7,259.22 on Tuesday, its 13th record close of 2026. The Nasdaq also hit a fresh record at 25,326.13. The rally was broad-based, driven by falling oil prices and strong earnings. Key context: the S&P is now up roughly 15% year-to-date. The Nasdaq is up over 20%. These are not small numbers for early May. The market is pricing in a soft landing, AI-driven productivity gains, and now potentially the end of the Iran war. If futures hold, Wednesday will mark another record close. The S&P would open above 7,300 for the first time. What to watch today? Iran's response. The 48-hour clock is ticking. Any official statement from Tehran moves oil and equities instantly. Semiconductor momentum. Can the chip rally sustain a second day, or does profit-taking kick in? Oil levels. WTI below $95 is a psychological threshold. If it holds below $90, gas prices start falling fast. Fed speakers. No FOMC meeting this week, but any commentary on the oil-driven inflation drop matters. Earnings. Arista Networks reports after the bell. Another AI infrastructure play. Non-farm payrolls Friday. April jobs consensus at 60K. The market is already looking ahead. The bottom line. This is one of those mornings where multiple tailwinds converge at once. A potential end to the Iran war crashes oil. AMD's blowout confirms AI spending is accelerating. Records beget records. The market is in full risk-on mode. The risk? This is all built on a headline. If Iran rejects the deal, oil snaps back above $110 in minutes and this morning's gains evaporate. If Iran accepts, we're looking at a fundamentally different macro environment. Lower oil, lower inflation, more room for the Fed to cut, and a market that could run significantly higher. For now, the tape says buy. But keep one eye on Tehran. That's your Zintch.com pre-market pulse for Wednesday, May 6, 2026. Good luck, and goodbye.